the social ills of this world to be able to do it. Anyway, I need some healing. I don't know.
Yeah, which it's time for that. And so what I'm going to do, I like to, for those guests that we have that have beautiful voices and who have given us music, I like to introduce them, bring them on while one of their songs is playing. And thusly, I am excited to play. I have a couple of great songs here, but you specifically asked for this song, and therefore I am going to play Free to Be Me.
Bang.
You're listening to WJBR Internet Radio in the Basement with JaVonne and Terez and the lovely Miss Gina Breedlove.
Won't you take me there? I'd go anywhere. Sometimes when I'm all alone, daydreams take me far from home, a place you and I can love. Give me what I'm dreaming of. When I'm all alone, thinking about all the places I could go, things we could do, alone in the world, and no one to answer to. Free. Free to be you. Free to be me. Free to love. Free to love. Free to love. I know our love is taboo. I'm not supposed to want you. The world doesn't understand, but I do the best I can. When I'm all alone, thinking about all the places I could go, things we could do, alone in the world, and no one to answer to. Free. Free to be you. Free to be me. Free to love. Free to love. Free to love. to love. Hey, come on, feel.
Miss Gina Breedlove.
Yes, G. Okay. Medicine woman, vocalist, actor, healer. Gina Breedlove. Yes, yes. So for everybody tuning in, let me just give you some of this illustrious bio right now, because we're about to peel this onion, like I told you. Gina Breedlove. I'm gonna do this, and like I said before you came on, G, we go back like car seats. So, given that, I just want to put this in context before we get going. But welcome to the basement with JaVonne and Terez. Okay,
welcome.
And
hi, JaVonne.
I want to introduce you to my co-hostess with the mostest. That's JaVonne over there, and she's happy to see you, and for a couple of reasons actually. Well, for those of you listening out there, and yes, her voice is healing. I get it. Thank you. Gina Breedlove is a vocalist, composer, actor, and sound healer. Hails from Brooklyn. Brooklyn's in the house. New York, okay? And she began singing when she was 9 years old at Pentecostal church, G? Wow. Holy Roller Baptist Church. Okay. All right. And she's done a lot of tours with a lot of amazing, incredible artists. One particularly is Harry Belafonte, and she also was a part of the inaugural cast of The Lion King. She played the role of Sarabi. Okay, she was the first one ever and did so very graciously, I may add. All right. Presently, she's on tour with what she calls folksoul and has some music out herself. All right. So, medicine woman, we want to peel the layers back on that. And two of her pieces that you guys can go get, the CDs are actually called Open Heart and the Language of Light, and they're available everywhere you can find CDs now. So we're gonna circle back on those two pieces, because as we play, G, this is just to let you know, this station is well, JaVonne, you know what? Why don't you help in that area? We it's licensed. So, and it's 24 hours. So if you have original music, one of the things, because we're diehard music fans here, like crate diggers. So technically anything that we play on the show, if you have publishing, you get it still. So it's important. And we don't do top 40. So it helps, a lot of artists with original pieces. Can you hear me okay? Am I coming through?
Fine. Yes.
Okay, perfect.
My question is, can you ladies hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. There we go.
I got kicked out of the headset, and I don't think my mic is working. I think it's going through the computer now. So we'll just whatever.
I got you though. I got you. All right. But you're gonna join this conversation, JaVonne. You're not gonna back away from the grief situation. I'm just letting you know that right now. So tell us about sound healing? What is that for the people that, need to understand, and how is that necessary in the work that you do moving grief?
Sound healing is myriad things, right? It could be that song that elicits a feeling from you. It could be the drum that creates an opportunity in your body to move. And it's the didgeridoo. It's the intentional use of any sound for the purposes of creating ease and spaciousness in the body,
Okay.
right? And so as it comes through my altar, I use my voice chiefly. And I teach other folk how to use their voices in service to wellness.
Mm-hmm. And what does that look like?
I do circles and I do private work.
Okay.
And so when I do one-on-one work with folk, I tone into their bodies.
JaVonne?
Yes.
Did you change something real fast? I couldn't hear.
No, say it again, please.
Okay, you got it.
I tone.
Okay.
Is that better? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And my work, sound, the efficacy of using sound in healing work is well documented, right? Like anyone can go to Professor Google and put in sound healing, and so many articles would come up. There are folk who use sound waves and vibration to disrupt cancer cells, right? And so, and it's been, there's just like there's so much that folk can find around the medicine of sound and the power and the potency of it.
Mm-hmm.
But my connection to sound is more rooted in spirit.
Okay.
And so, and my work is, I've been doing it for 12 years now, but sound is something that I've always used on my own body to create calm, ease.
Mm-hmm.
My first conscious memory was when I was 5 years old. And I remember because something really horrible happened in my life. And I remember humming, although my family tells me that I came out the womb humming and sounding and making noise and singing, incessantly singing. But for me, it was a very private practice. It was just the way that I calmed myself,
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my grandmother would hum. I began to equate it with when she was feeling some stress, that she would hum and she would rock and it would not just calm her body, I could see, but also change the energy in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I didn't make these connections till much later. Like I didn't even have a language for what I was doing. It was just what my body knew to do intrinsically to take care of myself. But I started working with other people 12 years ago. And, one of those, accidentally on purpose, like I don't believe in accidents. And there was someone in my home who was having a breakdown. So I was having one of my famous Christmas Eve parties in Brooklyn. And two sisters that I knew from the community showed up. They weren't invited, but they thought it was some kind of music salon. So, I got home training. You invite people in, you hand them a plate. And at the end of the party, one of the women was just sobbing and uncontrollably. Everybody had left. My daughter was in bed. And I remember feeling torn because I really wanted her to leave my house. Right? I was like, I'm sorry you're in pain. I don't know you. I'm going to pray for you. One of those, right? But then my spirit told me that I could help her. So I asked her permission and I sat her down and I began to tone into her body and lay hands and sound like into the back of her neck, into the back of her heart. And I just went when my spirit guided me. She calmed and then got very still. And when she left my home, I just, she was really quiet. She didn't have any language. But a couple of days later, people started to call me because she told people about it. And they were like, oh, we hear you do this thing. And I was like, what thing? What are you talking about? And that's how this was born. This is how it became, the business that I have now, where I have clients all over the world. Wherever I tour in the world, from Rwanda to Brooklyn, I do sound healing circles and teach folk how to tone into their own bodies to release things, because we store things in the body.
Storing it in the body. That's. I'm glad you landed there. I really am glad you landed there because grief. I don't have to tell you. And let me apologize because first, what we generally do is ask folks, "How are you? How you doing? How you doing, G?"
Rez, I'm good. I moved to a very tiny town about 2 years ago. My spirit led me. I was living in the Bay Area with my partner, and at the dissolution of our marriage, I was looking for a quiet place to land. And I'm a New Yorker, but I knew I couldn't go back to New York because of all of the grief work and fear and rage work I was doing with people. I knew I needed someplace quiet. And so I'm in this little place on red dirt with trees and a river in Georgia, and it takes care of my spirit. The landscape cares for me, and so I am doing really well. I am,
Good.
and I'm working constantly. Like right now, I'm booked out till August. I'm working constantly because the need is so great.
Yeah, let's talk about that need. We are living in a time, that is certainly unfamiliar. I feel like a fish out of water. And like I was telling JaVonne, daily, you just don't know what you're riding, what wave. And then, I'm working from home now and working with others and interfacing with others and waves of things that you're going through as what's going on in the world feels like this, And it's helpful to me to get up early, as I like to do, and just be still, just be still, quiet, like no noise, nothing. I'm able to focus and then come back. But it's a current out here now. When you say, do you feel any of that? I mean, I know that you got the environmental thing, but the current.
I feel it in the middle of the night, like around 4 a.m. I'll wake and feel the collective. And I do what you do. I get up, I pray, I sit, I meditate, I find the sound of my own voice. I locate my own heartbeat, and it brings me back into my body. But we are all, inextricably interconnected beings. It's one of the reasons why, as if we needed a reason, but the horror of what happened to George Floyd and to all of our siblings, like there's so many names, right? But there's about George Floyd and catching all of that on video and the sound of his voice pleading for his mama. Like there is not a soul, unless of course you can't feel like that officer, like you're sociopathic and there's like no space for feeling in your body. Like this person, like people aren't real. But who can't connect to that? Mama pleading for their mama. I mean, you see it. It's global. This movement is incredible. I've never seen anything like it. But we all understand that kind of heartbreak, and you could feel the collective heartbreak.
Whoa.
Yeah. So you feel energetic. Absolutely. It's overwhelming.
JaVonne shared openly and that she's lost a lot of people in a very short period of time, and she talks about that. I mean, just yesterday, and I'm not putting you out, JaVonne. I'm just, we were talking before. I don't know at what point you tuned in, but
I've been 7. I've been really grateful to take this journey with y'all.
Oh, that's dope. I mean, could have pulled you in earlier. Then we try to give folks a break, so because I know that everybody's experiencing a lot of screen time. So we just try to reduce it to an hour sit, but, grief in the body and where you landed someplace before where you talked about grief in the body and what advice, and I know that, that may be the wrong word. So I need your help here. Okay.
Yeah.
What can you do for people that are trying to relieve their body of grief? I know it's a process, but
it is indeed. And but I heard a terminology recently that I really love, which was a listening partnership. Listening partners, because we're moving away from advice, right? And or thought partners, right? And so I can absolutely share practices and acknowledge and honor that, because like you so powerfully shared, talking about the eulogy as eulogized by Al Sharpton, talking about our names right? And so our names, our lineage, our line, our connection, our knowing of ourselves, and we've done incredibly gorgeously well. I'm so in awe of Black people and of Black joy and the persistence of Black joy. It's the most amazing thing ever to me. That still after all of these years, we're not like ganging up in potsies talking about revenge. We're talking about equality and equanimity and love. It's like, we are a people, right? We are an incredible people. But other things that were taken from us, right, were our practices, our rituals, our spirituality, right? And so our ancestor worship, which of course, there's been so much reclamation there. But I have not seen a lot of reclamation around how to move grief, rituals to move grief, right? And there are in our lines, in lineages, practices to move grief, because grief, like joy, is the movement of it, like touch, is essential for the body to thrive. And so we stuff it, we move it around like it's a hot stone. We put it here, we put it there. It gets caught in the throat. It becomes like the weight of the unsaid. We keep swallowing the same thing over and over. So sound is just one practice, right? Using the sound of your voice to go in and get the grief. Humming is a beautiful tool. Songs are lovely, but sometimes we get caught in lyrics. And so the lyric will dictate where our thoughts go, right? But if we start with a hum, and just a low humming to ourselves when we have a quiet moment, humming and moving our sound around, like breathing and directing our sound into our bodies, right? And seeing and being curious about what the reveal will be. We absolutely have to stop. We have to pause for grief to flow in a righteous way, right? Sometimes we just get so full, we just explode. But to be of more service to the body, creating time, creating that hour, give yourself just an hour. You deserve an hour of your own attention and time. And to sit quietly with yourself and to hum, and allow the hum to go and to travel. And to be curious about what wants to be revealed. You will find that there are things queuing up for your attention, right? It is honorable. It's honoring to grieve for the passage of a loved one, right? And so invoking that person, like bringing them to mind and finding where that is lodged in your body, this grief, this missing, and then allowing it to flow out of your mouth. We are so terrified of moving grief. There's this feeling like it's inexhaustible or that we'll die, right? And capitalism flourishes because of grief, right? Buy shiny things and you will be happy, So it is also another way to break that, to break that spell, to break the narrative, to break that connection that we have to reaching for our wallet when we really need to reach for ourselves and hold ourselves and give ourselves a moment. And it can be a longer conversation, but these are places of points of entry, a place to begin. So many of our lineages and lines in our communities, in our villages, folks would grieve openly and together. And there was no shame in it and no shaming. This understanding that it is a big energy that needs to come out of the body. And we don't stifle joy. We don't clamp our laugh down and let it, implode. We let it flow. And so there is a lot of power, Rez, in making friends with your voice and leaning into the sound of your voice and allowing your voice to hold you. With that intention, the way you will caress or love or reach for a loved one with your voice, with your sound, the way you will soothe, turning that on your own body, turning it toward you and then leaning into it. It will move grief. Grief will move.
I remember you just evoked a thought when I was a kid, and if I was upset about something, my mother used to hum, and I remember the sound of her hum because it was like, was just very, it was over and over and over again. And I usually would fall asleep,
Sure.
that. I remember that specifically, and I don't even know if she knew what she was doing at the time. I just think she was just rocking and she was just holding. And then eventually she put me in bed, I used to suffer from headaches. And so at some point in the night, I would break out and run in her room, and she would it got to the point where I remember her just lifting the covers when she heard my feet coming, and just, she didn't have to turn over. She just lift the covers up. I jump in and she just put the covers down and go to sleep, But I remember that particular piece about humming and finding your voice, which I'm translating now to be that. But at the time, it just felt good because I felt the vibration on her chest, as she rocked. Just, real simple,
Yeah. I mean, we have, my people used to say, don't put your mouth on that. Right.
Okay.
Right. Like, and we all have a version of that. Like, our porch wisdom, our people. And it's just like the sound is a thing. Words are living. Words are alive. Right. And so speaking the word is a very powerful casting. It's a very powerful conjure,
Mm-hmm.
And Black folk have always used sound because words were dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You could not alert the person 2 fields over that,
Talk about it.
Papa Joe just died.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a wail, there was a sound for that.
Mm-hmm.
Or Mary Sue just gave birth, or meet us at the tree, the old oak tree at midnight, or there were sounds, and of course there were also songs, there were codes, we were brilliant at coding, we still are.
Mm-hmm.
But sound is, it is medicine. It carries vibration, and and married with intention.
Mm-hmm.
It's also cursing is real. Like we could tear folk down, and we could tear something open, and we can decimate a spirit by our words, by our sound,
Mm-hmm.
or we can just water that dirt. To stay with that metaphor, and watch things grow, beautiful things.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that more effectively and more immediate than in my child, where I would say things and I would watch her deflate, and I would catch myself, and I would have to apologize and rectify, and put another soft word in her skin, something else in its place, and watch her go like,
Mm.
Yeah.
Perfect analogy. I remember the day that I saw that video, and it's so funny because you don't quite connect the dots, so you're connecting a lot of dots for me. Music has gotten me through every point of my life, every single point. And one of my favorite percussionists is Ralph McDonald.
Yeah.
And distinctively, this particular album that I still have, that called The Path. Do you know that one?
Yeah.
Yes. Ralph McDonald, The Path. And shout out to my mom for turning me on to that many, many moons ago. But that is my favorite percussion album because it starts off with a Yoruba chant.
Yes.
I remember that particular day. I played. It was like maybe 3:00 in the morning, and I'm sandwiched in between two neighbors in white skin, And that particular morning, about maybe 3:30 in the morning, I came in my office space and I cranked that up louder than a stadium, and I just danced, just dance. Just dance, and just the chants and the drums, and just because I was so enraged. Shango was all up and through.
Yeah.
I just had to just burn it out, and that was the only thing that did it for me. And then just collapsing after that, and just being this. I had to have a crying session. I had to get that rage out, because just words weren't enough. It just wasn't enough, and sound. Thank you. Because it helps.
Yeah.
Thinking about it is just like,
Well, this is the kind of thing I think it has to, we're just going to have to be in practice because this be a long game. Like I heard y'all talking about divestment and like there's so many things, right? We are all at the effect of white supremacy. We are. It's in the fabric of every single thing. And I'm excited to think about, I'm a new grandma. and I have my little.
Congratulations. Pause. Congratulations.
He's 2 months, and but I'm excited about how he will flourish and thrive, without comparing himself to white gays, to use the incredible Toni Morrison's language. And I believe that that's what I do this work for now. Like he's 2 months old, I am 54 years older than this baby, But I'm doing this for him and all of the babies, right? All of our babies, because this is a long game. It's going to take some time, right? And so we are going to need these practices to keep the body well. And sound is something that can go into the toolkit, right? Dance, sound, meditation, exercising, all the energy modalities like Reiki. Like there's so many ways, right, to move things out of the body and to stay well. We're going to have to all be employing these things because we're going to be in this for a while.
Okay. But, here's where we lean on community more than ever, for what it's almost like what you got, and what you got, just one of those things. JaVonne, what you thinking about over there? What you thinking about?
What am I thinking about? I'm listening.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listening.
Yeah.
Taking in the sounds.
Yeah.
I will say that sound has always been important to me. And so I 100% get it. And music is healing. Voices can be healing, and like you said, they can also be destructive. Words, tone of voice can go anywhere from healing to loving to hurtful to questionable. Like, what did that mean? Sound is underrated.
Yeah.
And I think it could be used, and I think I'm listening and I'm thinking that maybe I should be more intentional about how I utilize my voice and how I receive sound. I'm also looking at, because as we speak, there are questions or comments that others are writing. So I wanted to bring one or two to your attention. Someone named Carmela. Hi, Carmela, by the way, and hello to everyone who's listening and watching. Thank you so much. Carmela wants to know if it's normal to fall asleep after a sound healing.
Oh, sure. I mean, I don't lean into it to what's considered normal. I really, it could be usual, right? But we all have different responses, right, to sound. And sometimes falling asleep is the body's way, I feel, of being merciful, because one of the things that sound will do, it will elicit memories. Sound can go into the body and pull a memory. And in all my years of working with other people, I've come to know that the body will not release anything that the spirit is not ready to hold space with, right? But sometimes the grief is so big that people just fall asleep and I think of it as mercy, like it's a way of caring for themselves. They check out for a minute, and then because I've had clients fall asleep on my table. And then when you come to, after just taking a moment to pause, you feel like you have more capacity. And so it is quite usual to fall asleep. And sometimes you fall asleep because you're tired. You're just tired. And you just, right? And it's like somebody holding the back of your skull and you can rest, like you can just drop in. And sound can do that as well. It's like rocking a baby. I know a lot about right now again.
So,
yeah, but it's quite usual. Yeah.
Okay.
And Carmela also wanted to know if there is a ritual for letting go of anger from our ancestors.
Well, I was just talking to a client about that today, right? Um, and I know that we have, like, part of coming in a line, right? Loving yourself forward, the mothers of mothers of mothers of mothers, me and my daughter, right? That we can absolutely heal grief from the past. And there's like different practices, and it is really particular to where that grief may be in the body, but when it comes to rage, um, rage to me, like grief, that if it's not moved and not released and jettisoned from the body, it can wreak havoc on the body, right? It gets caught. I believe completely that stuck energy becomes disease, and it can ossify in the body. It hardens around the heart and around the liver, and this whole knowing of so and so died of a broken heart, like that's real. That's real talk. And so moving rage, to me, is a physical act, some physicality. Like, I was talking to a client today about kickboxing. Like, punching, moving. If your body, you can't access that with your body. There are rituals for banging and breaking. Once I know of a client who, like, bought all these old dishes and put them in a pillowcase and knotted the pillowcase and took a hammer and just went in on these dishes and, like, moved rage with her mouth, like like sounding and crying and banging and really with the intention of moving this rage through, right? Of not letting it lurk in her solar plexus, but just moving it through. She was exhausted and she felt lighter afterward. Like, so I feel like it is a physicality, like it's a throwing off. It's a bringing up and throwing off of the body, some kind of way.
It's funny because my wife mentioned the other day they have these rooms where you can go and break glass, like you
yes, I just heard about that. Yeah, I just read about that. Like, these rooms where you can take a bat and just go in and just, it's another thing that got taken from us, right? Like, we have to be polite about our rage. We have to pull in our rage and our grief, and all the other things that went with it. Like, this whole notion of, that stays in the family and that's secret and you have to protect the family. I'm holding this secret that fucking Uncle Ronnie is touching me at night. What is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's so, like, these are the things that have happened to us over time. I mean, because of all the initial horror. Like, I feel like that guy who wrote Blackish, where I can trace everything to slavery. Like,
I love Blackish.
Everything to slavery, and all the things that got splintered and broken. But the good news is that we can gather ourselves back, and we have our joy and we have this power, this persistence.
The only thing that brought me joy last week, I think it was, and this is going to sound completely ignorant, of course, and I love it. I'm prefacing it. That video that in the midst of all the storm, and me giving myself social media breaks, that video of the woman, "You gonna lose your job."
Do you know that she's getting some money for that now?
She should be. It was perfect. I haven't laughed so hard. I laughed so hard. And then the video, we can give ourselves, and then how it just morphed into this thing and all the video pieces behind it.
I love it so much. I do. We're the most creative people on the planet.
We are. In the midst of it, and with flames coming out of every angle, we will find a way to make a joke or a laugh or just something out of just to get us through, and there's so much just whoever that sister is, JaVonne, we got to find her, because that was everything, you know.
I'll send you the article. I read it in the Root newsletter today, that she's getting paid now.
She should be. I pay her.
She should. She wrote a song. She should get her royalties.
And that little dance that she, you know, she had a little bop. I mean, you could tell the officer that was holding it was kind of like, because, you know, it just, come on, man. That was perfect. That was perfect. You know, in the midst of in the midst of the storm, she found a way, you know, just loved it. There's a question here that is asking about Gina Breedlove. What about sound baths? I have a buddy that does those to heal your inner spirit with his clients. He does yoga classes in his studio. What about sound baths? And what are they?
I think are wonderful, right? And I'm happy that it's married with another modality, right? My one challenge with sound baths is it's like something that doesn't last, you know? It's wonderful for a few days. And you're calm for a few days. Marrying it with other modalities, though, with the intention to bring it deeper into the body, right? And so if during the yoga class you're asking someone, now when you do this, hum into your solar plexus, right? Or breathe and hum and create some sound around your heart chakra, to borrow from chakra science. My work is about practices to move grief, practices to create freedom sites within the body, right? Because I feel like an abolitionist for lost parts of self, you know, to bring yourself home and stay home, and with true freedom, you know, with liberation. Like, am I thinking thoughts I want to think, or are my thoughts curated? You know, these are really important questions, you know, especially when everything is designed to pull us out of our bodies. You know, everywhere we go, we can't even buy a damn, you know, quart of milk without something blaring at you at the register. And so, like, how much of me do I own? You know, and not fake, not what I've come to think of as fake freedom. Yeah, I can buy what I want and fly where I want, you know, but, you know, how much power do I have, and how am I using my power in the world?
Right.
And so sound can liberate us. They can liberate us. Am I circling a thought that the media wants me to be hooked on and hung up on? I mean, I watch how we're buffeted from one thing to the other. You know, how now watch this shiny thing and watch that shiny thing. And meanwhile, over here, that crazy, God, I just could curse. And
you can.
I can't. That crazy motherfucker up there is doing shit. And I know it's not him. He's just like a fucking figurehead. But the laws that are being passed and the things that have been rescinded, and I mean layers and layers of laws. Do you know that it is a criminal offense to protest against fossil fuels? I mean, a peaceful gathering, right? If I am protesting a peaceful gathering, I can be put in jail and fined. That law was passed under right as COVID shutdown happened, you know? And so it's insidious, it's nefarious, and it's ancient. It's old. I mean, not ancient. It's 400 or 500 years old. But it's a long game, and we have to be vigilant. You know, we have to be vigilant.
Can I just say that the sound of you saying "motherfucker" and whatever else, it really lightened my spirit a little bit. Well, and I like. My body like that.
Yes.
More of that.
That's a good sound. Fuck, motherfucker all day long. It's like, come on.
This is just loosen something up in my shoulder.
Yes. Let's loosen up that neck.
Yeah, I'm feeling tight there for a minute. That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, this ain't a game. This ain't no game. No. So it's like, yeah, we are. Yeah. So like you said, Rez, like community, like what you got, what do you do? Bring what you bring, you know, bringing all of ourselves to the table, you know, for every person, young folk, with 20s is young to me now, right? So that feels like they have medicine to share, but they might be nervous about it or shameful about it or hesitant about it. Like, oh, I do this thing where I lay hands and I can feel the energy move, you know, like, come on and bring it, you know, like bring what you bring, and bring these medicines that we walk with, right? So, because those I think will be of service at marches and at sit-ins and at meetings and at this be a long walk. So bringing all of us, all of what we do. Yeah.
Yeah, we when we figure out what we're doing with this whole voting thing in November, and it's already some old trick shit going on, but when we figure this out, part of what I wanted to implore my whole team was to, we're going to get buses or whatever we need to do to get folks organized and make sure, and anybody 18 years old get registered and make sure they're registered and, just get that part together, because this clown has got to go. He really does. But, and we were talking before you came on about, just the idea of terms and offices and things that, we need to start from the ground floor and actually understanding how all this crap really works, because, unfortunately, the police are doing a job, and the job is not their assignments. A lot of them may not even know why they exist, and how things are interconnected, and what they're actually trying to do versus what you see.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like you said, this is a long walk, and with the say it again, Loretta, I hear you. They're actually saying spit that cussing because it's the truth. Yeah, I get it. We have a whole chat line going on while you're here on the side, so we occasionally pull from that. But you're listening to, let me just give a call real quick. I mean, you're listening to WJBR Internet Radio. You're live, Brunch in the Basement with JaVonne Terez and Gina Breedlove tonight. On the show, the telephone number to the show is 347-996-5394. Again, it's 347-996-5394. If you have something you want to say to Gina, call and give her a shout out. That's all. Ask her questions. I see all the questions rolling. Any tips for connecting with our authentic creative energy? Nat Alexander asks.
Yes, I am. I've heard Alice Walker say this many times when I've gone to hear her speak, and she talks about meditation, and I have to echo that. Like finding space, and meditation could look a lot of ways. I mean, so many things have gotten co-opted that belong to us, belong to First Peoples, belong to Indigenous folk. I have seen so many yoga ads with some really ultra thin white woman on the, in some pose, right? And yogic science is an ancient science, right? But meditating, finding a place to get quiet, which is, of course, really difficult these days because of all of the devices and all of the opportunities to not be quiet, right? So we have to fight for it. It's like fighting for your mind, and gathering yourself. And there's so many ways to meditate, right? It's not just the, sitting in lotus position. There are walking meditations, where, that walk to the subway, you decide that on this walk, you're going to notice light. You're going to notice the way light falls on things, right? And so you're just going to notice light as it filters through, as it lands here, as it lands there, as it lands on your skin. You're taking yourself out of the usual thought patterns, right? And so even pushing ourselves out of the usual narrative, even for a moment, creates this spaciousness, this breath, right? And so if you can extend that, right, and take some time to just focus on your breath, and then another practice is believing yourself. That's a practice, right? Like really believing yourself. Like if your body reveals, this is what I want to do. I want to paint. I'm a painter. And so what does that look like? I'm not suggesting to anybody that, like, I lived in New York. I know what that is, and I have a mortgage now. So I mean, folks, we do what we do. We do what we have to do, right? But we can certainly cultivate authenticity and a love alongside what we do. We just have to fight for it and create that space, create the time. Get up a half hour earlier. There's always a sacrifice. I think what has been perpetrated is everything's supposed to be easy because we get shit so quickly. Like I've noticed it in myself. If my Wi-Fi doesn't come on in like under 60 seconds, I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, hold on a second, But things that we want will take time and practice. There's no way to get away from daily practice.
I say that about therapy, and spending more time searching for a therapist that you can work with. Spend more time doing that than you do shoes. You're very picky about how you pick your shoes. You just don't go to the store and grab the first one you see. You may have to spend time with that and find the person for you, the right fit. Yeah, that's you got to spend. What are you waving over there, G?
Oh, Sage.
Sage.
My constant companion.
Nice. Got some of that myself. Or white sage and do it,
Give some to JaVonne.
Give some to JaVonne. JaVonne, you want some sage? We're gonna get some sage for you, JaVonne. But
sage.
You can use some sage.
I really could. Yeah.
And you can make a bath out of it too. You just boil a chunk of it and let it steep, and then pour it in the tub. Or if you don't have a tub, you can bring it into the shower and just clean your body with it. And it takes off so much of the energy. It quiets energy.
You know what? We're gonna have to have you back when I'm able to lift some of this. I'm a lot of fun at parties, and I have a great energy most of the time. I'm a barrel of laughs.
JaVonne, I think you have great energy now. I don't need
tonight. I'm just not that funny.
No, you don't have to be funny. I'd like you to be just who you is.
Thank you. I feel like I'm giving you the shiny forehead version of myself tonight.
Mm-mm.
And but I'm really taking in everything that you're saying. I think that you are an amazing spirit. You're beautiful. You're just beautiful. And I'm stuck there, and it's a good place because in this darkness, that is 2020 for me.
Yes.
When I'm able to see beauty or light, I just want to stop right there and soak it in. I'm in awe. It's like I call Terez Sunshine because she's my friend, and when I see her, when I hear her voice, when I get a text from her, I get a ray of light.
Yes, indeed.
Like a healing. I think that healing comes in so many different ways from so many different sources, and I think that our senses are all capable of absorbing and giving healing. I think also that we give and absorb pain through those senses as well. You know what I mean? And for me, there's been an influx of pain and not enough beauty. And so forgive me for my just being like present. You're beautiful, and you're diverting me away from a little bit of the pain, and yet I still feel it. So it's
yeah.
She's on the eye right there.
Shut up, Terez. I'm trying to be professional here. There you go. Peeling that part of the onion I was trying not to unravel. Okay. No, you are very beautiful. You're a very beautiful lady. And before we go, we would love a drop from you.
Wait, we got one more thing though. I think would be interesting. You ready, Jay?
Oh yeah, well let's do it. You talk about it, and you know me, I'm with it.
Okay, because you're gonna be you're able to do the 5. We do this thing called rapid fire, G, and it's a word association game. Okay. It gives us a peek behind the veil a little bit. So how we do it is one of those. So we do.
Did you come up with this game, Rez?
I'm not the originator, but I certainly have perfected it. So what I will say is that, I say 5 words and you say the first word that comes to mind. And then JaVonne will go and she'll say 5 words. So, I'll go, you go, I go back and forth. And that's how we're going to do it. I'll pause and I'll thank you. So And before I do that, and then right after that, we ask you for a drop for the show. So we just to set up some of the contents. Okay. So you ready? Yeah. Okay. And so we get to see all the facial expressions too, Jay. You ready?
I'm watching.
All right. Love.
Grace.
Peace.
Now.
Children.
Mine.
Night.
Yes.
Laughter.
Ashe.
Hot chocolate.
Delicious.
Thank you, JaVonne.
Okay. Beauty.
Joy.
Lesbian.
Me.
Thank you. I'm done. No, I'm just kidding.
All day.
God.
I am.
People.
Needful.
Sound.
Everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Gina, and
we need to drop.
Got you. All right. We need a drop from you, G. And it is the show is In the Basement with JaVonne Terez. And of course, hi, this is Gina Breedlove. Because we rotate on the 24-hour and we be stacking your music there too. So I'm hoping that it all original shit, G, because
it is, I promise.
You need to get this good publishing. But whenever you're ready, hit it.
Hi, this is Gina Breedlove, and you're listening to In the Basement with JaVonne Terez.
Perfect.
Thank you both so much. JaVonne, it's so good to meet you. I'll see you again.
Yes.
Tell everybody where they can find you, G. How can they find you? Where they can find you?
GinaBreedlove.com, and for sound healing, vibrationofgrace.com.
Vibrationofgrace.com, and Gina, small G, INABREEDLOVE.com.
And all the medias, same thing. Bye, love.
Lady.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care.
So very much.
Thank you.
Gina Breedlove, everyone.
Gina Breedlove.
I'm not blind to all the evils of the world. It's so clear to me that love needs real love. But when I see you, I see beauty in the world. 'Cause you move me. I know the sun will rise again. You go through me to the place where I begin. And I know that our mother has a plan for the world.
90 seconds.
I hear many say that love is not enough. Is there some other way to heal without a touch?
60 seconds.
We can use the pain that comes from being alive to awaken to a dawn of a new age. We must love on. We must love on through the rain to be ready to create a better way for the world. You just got to touch somebody you love. Touch your neighbor's hand. Touch that child's life. Touch, reach out and touch, somebody in need, touch, to stop the bleeding, touch, come go with me,
10 seconds.
I see evil steady coming for your mind. So much adversity, it's harder to be kind. Find something beautiful to get you through the night. And in the morning, as you lean into the light, tell that trouble, only love will make it right. Come and join us. We are righteous in this fight for the world. You just got to touch somebody you love. Touch your neighbor's hand. Touch that child's alive. Touch, reach out and touch somebody in need. Touch to stop the bleeding. Touch, come go with me. Touch.
Hey, Rez. Now I can hear myself through here. You know, that was beautiful. She was beautiful. You're beautiful. Everybody's beautiful. And
Beautiful world.
that's why I can sing some more, Rez.
It's a beautiful world.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? All right, I want to thank everybody for listening. I'm going to shut it down. We will this coming Saturday, we will be paying homage, giving having a special show in tribute to Miss Bonnie Pointer. And I'm going to see if we have probably her best friend, one of her best friends, her sister, Anita, I believe, was her actual best friend. They spoke every day. But her manager and good buddy, good friend, very dear friend, Troy, will probably come on with us.
That took me out, man. That took me out, you know.
Yeah. Do you recall how prior to her coming on in May, when I would talk about old shows, I would tell you about that show with Bonnie Pointer. Out of all my shows, right? I would say, look, when you get a chance, go back and listen to the Bonnie Pointer show. You got to listen because Bonnie Pointer, yo,
she was a girl of laughs when she was on. She's just like so gregarious,
just real and just a good soul, just a good spirit, man. And so we're gonna play. What I'm gonna try to do before the show is edit up the one I did a few years ago, the one that we did with her and Anita, and I'm gonna chop that up and chop them both up, I guess, and just have some sound bites with Bonnie, and we'll play some Pointer Sisters music, and we'll talk to Troy and try to elicit some of his memories of her. And hey, Brandon coming on at the end after the show is over. He says we have to give the legends their flowers while they are here, and that's why we are here. And you're absolutely right. That's why I try to get as many people as I can from the previous generation. And I feel like if younger artists want to come on, I'm with that too. But I really want to get our legends on now. Not that I'm anticipating them all going. We're all going someday. But I just want an opportunity, if I may, to let them know that they are loved and remembered, still relevant today, regardless of what they did or didn't do. On this show, there's no such thing as old school. We have classics. We have R&B classics here.
Rare things to find, not common, not trendy. Sustained things, people,
exactly.
Like elevator music and folk. You know what I mean? Like some of the music today, and I'm just gonna go ahead and say it again. Some of the music today you won't hear long term, but a lot of them, like the Pointer Sisters, legendary. They got hits that they could sit down and not have to work a day again if they didn't want to, and it's so tragic. And it was that hurt me in a place to know that Bonnie earned her wings, I like to say, and I also say, sometimes, God picks the best fruit, and because we're here and we just don't know, there's an ignorance that we just sit in. Was we don't know. Like when you transcend, we don't know what that other side is like. It could be an amazing place.
Mm-hmm.
So many amazing people are there. So at the end of the day, it just doesn't give them their flowers while they can smell them. Everybody love somebody today harder than you ever have, because you just don't know. You just don't know.
Exactly. And old school, Henry, is not a bad word. It's just not. It's not helpful.
No.
It's not. I know that it's not meant in any disrespectful way, because that's the term that we use. However, we don't. That doesn't celebrate anything.
Right.
When you say something is old, it sounds as though it's not useful anymore.
Yeah.
It's like it's not relevant now. Oh, that's old. That's then.
Right.
It's not revered.
Mm-hmm.
Classics. If I say I have something old in this hand, but I have a classic in this hand.
Right.
You want the classic. You want an old car, or do you want the classic car?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's really how you say it, because that the classic car is not brand new.
Mm-hmm.
It's aged, but it's aged well.
Yeah.
It's something to be revered.
Right. That and I have to say, Misty, age or old doesn't necessarily mean wise, you know. Old doesn't mean wise. Old just references a time period. Old versus new, you know, versus that just it just really kind of lifts only time. Classic, vintage, season, those kind of those kind of words elevate, they lift, you know.
I like that. Vintage R&B on Brunch in the Basement with JaVonne and Terez.
Ooh, there goes that voice, Silky. What you doing? What's happening?
Miss Breedlove left me with a little something.
Now there you go. Yeah, because she'll get you with the Scooby Doo, won't she?
Just a little something.
A little something, right? A little something.
A little something. But yeah, so
timeless. Yes, that's
timeless.
It.
Timeless. Yes. That's nice.
Yes, suspended. You know, time is a man-made construct too. We just have to unlearn so much shit, don't we?
Yeah.
Unlearn so much shit, man.
Now, let me ask you this, Mr. Henry DJ Backspin. Would you call Barbra Streisand's music old school?
Ooh.
Or is it vintage? Is it classic? How about Mr. Frank Sinatra?
Ooh.
Is his music, would you call that old school pop? Because he sang pop songs. His music was popular, top 40. Would you call Frank Sinatra's music old school? It's vintage. See, Misty said his is vintage. That's respect. That's the respect we give to Frank Sinatra, to Barbra Streisand, Ethel Merman, for crying out loud.
Rolling Stones.
Right. The Rolling Stones.
All those folks who haven't recorded anything and can come and sell out arenas.
Elton John.
You
call Elton John's music old school? No.
We've conditioned to do that to ourselves. You know, she and Frank are on the other side of the coin. What coin? If they were raised in the hood, they would be,
see, that's it right there.
Oh, man.
That's it right there, Henry. That's it right there.
Wow.
We bring ourselves down with our words. It's a term that we give ourselves that does not uplift ourselves. Why didn't we, instead of saying something like putting old school together, why didn't we create vintage R&B, classic hip hop?
How about that?
You know, why would we give a term like old? Why would we start? This is, you know, we have to relearn how we speak about ourselves.
Absolutely.
The value starts with the word. If there's no word for a thing, the thing doesn't exist.
Right.
Nothing exists until there's a word for it. And once something has been named, it's given value.
Just like the idea that people, you know, there's huge thought that goes into naming ceremonies, you know. And we're not debating, Henry. There's no debate, really, you know. We're just making a point, you know, just like I'm sure that you've made a point, and there's no debate. It's not even necessary to debate about everything. It's just something to think about.
Yeah. It's food for thought.
Debating. We're not debating. We're just thinking.
Let me just give you a little background, Terez. Duma is my brother. That's my Puerto Rican brother. We grew up together. He's like one of my brother's best friends growing up. So he knows me that. And yes, we will agree to disagree. And actually, I used to say old school. I used to say that too, because I'm from the hood. I used to say it. But then when I started working with artists, artists who I labeled quote unquote old school, and they were still creating new music, and they don't have as easy a time selling out Radio City today as Barbra Streisand does today. Their ticket sales are not on the same level as Barbra Streisand. Some of these artists can sing Barbra Streisand, all of them that I'm thinking of, can sing Barbra Streisand under the table. So what does Babs have that they don't have? How do her people describe her, talk about her, and support her? And we don't support our legends in the same. Now, I'm not saying that Barbra Streisand is not a legend. She's legendary. Straight up legendary. Hats off, all respect, straight up. She's classic.
One of my favorites.
And so is Melba Moore.
But her people, Barbra Streisand, obviously Jewish, and they don't throw their people away. They don't throw their people away. They understand the idea of community. They do. They understand their idea of community. You know, and that doesn't mean we love everybody, you know, because they don't love everybody, but they understand community, and they understand support, and they understand collective economics.
And we go for the shiny thing, the big, bright, shiny thing. Let me spend. How much are Nikes these days? I can't even. How much?
You know,
$150 for a pair of shoes, sneakers.
That's a universal thing with the Nike, the corporation, that our kids, you know, not just our kids, but, you know, kids globally, you know, we just need to really, really, really focus on being beautifully supportive to our own, lifting us and hugging and embracing us the way we need it right now. All of us, you know, when it comes down to community, we need to be with each other more so than ever now and always. We need to reset, if you will, reset this cycle, you know, because there's a lot of love here. There's a lot of beauty here. It's a lot of magic here. And we have to remember that as we move in the globe, to stay healthy, to stay happy and supportive. And, you know, and say something that encouraging to somebody every day that you move forward, you know, because there's nothing like a voice of Gladys Knight and Aretha Franklin and all those others that just got us all the way through, you know. Look at our own legends. They don't get recognized till they pass and should smell their flowers now. That's why we have the platform here in the basement. Absolutely. Absolutely. Biggie, Tupac, classic.
You know what? I'm gonna change that to vintage rap. What? That's vintage. That's no. I would not call it old school. That to me that's disrespectful. Anything can be old school.
Sugar Hill Gang, vintage.
No.
You know, because I mean, hip hop is as old as we are, Jay.
Well, actually, I'm a little older.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I'm older.
But I was here when they released. What was the first hip hop song? Go.
Let me just say this. Both Henry and I were breakdancing, rapping, and on the ones and twos before there was the first hip hop song. Okay. So let's just be clear for all of you a little bit younger than me that the first record was not the beginning.
Right.
There was we were for years before that.
Right.
Before that, we were, and actually, to be honest with you, at some point, the records spoiled it for me because it wasn't
commercial.
like vintage
Mm-hmm.
street turntablist having battles in the street. Duma, you know Henry, since he's representing as Henry, you could speak to that, you know. One day I'm gonna have some of the original street DJs from you know the Bronx,
BX,
yeah, the Boogie Down call in, maybe Duma, DJ Mixmaster Bruce, people y'all never heard of.
Mixmaster Bruce?
That's right. That was just spinning on the turntables and never got any kudos and so forth and so on. Yeah, it was a whole, we had a whole culture. Right. So the first record, when actually everybody thinks it was the Sugar Hill Gang, but there was a group, a singing group, can't remember, I think it was Brass Construction or somebody, during the time that we were out in the street rapping and breakdancing and whatever else we were doing. And I remember there was like a little rap in the middle of the song, like that was the bridge. It was like a little rap. And I remember being really impressed, saying, oh, look, these old guys, because they were old guys to us. You know, I must have been about 12 or 13 at the time. It's like, oh, look, they rapping on the song. And we thought that was funny.
Bebop.
And then soon after, Sugar Hill Gang came out, you know.
There was a record before the Sugar Hill Gang was the first commercially successful.
Yeah.
There was a record that was cut before the Sugar Hill Gang came out.
And what was that?
That was King Tim III, actually. That was the first, if you want to talk music, you know. Okay. And then the second, Wonder Mike and Big Bang Hank and Sugar Hill, you know, and what was the one? Next up, the mic is Bob Man, and the extended version. Remember the extended version?
Oh, yeah.
Remember that hip hop voice that you had to have that goes like this back in the day? Remember that one?
Yeah, you know that. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, just a little history for y'all. I used to hang out I used to be a Zulu angel.
Ooh, what's that?
So maybe I'll save that for another show. You ever heard of Bambaataa?
Afrika Bambaataa, of course.
Exactly. Afrika Bambaataa. Yeah. Afrika Bambaataa was the head of the Zulu nation. Okay. Yeah. And they came out of the PJs in the Bronx.
Facts.
And they had Zulu kings and Zulu queens.
Okay.
And they made up the Zulu nation.
You were a Zulette?
No, I was a Zulette. Oh, yeah. I was too young to be a Zulu queen, me and my little crew. So they said we could be Zulu angels. So we were Zulu angels. And we used to hang out at Bambaataa's house every now and then. And they would be spinning turntables and whatnot. And this is before Bambaataa was Afrika Bambaataa. Oh, Jesus, I'm tired now. Before he had a record. And I used to hang out at a club. Oh, Jesus, what was the name of the damn club? It just slipped my mind.
The Fever?
What? Say it again?
The Fever?
Yep. The Fever, Make You Want to Leave Her, and Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, and Mario. Some of you might have heard the names, DJ Mario, all those dudes, man. We used to kind of hang out together. That was back in the day. That was
1979. Thank you, Pop. The Fatback Band from New York City featuring.
That was it. The Fatback Band. It was.
Yes, King Tim III. That's King Tim III.
That's what it was. The Fatback Band. That's what it was.
The Fatback Band. 79. Yeah. I used to mix that one.
Breast Construction. I feel like, I don't know why I keep thinking Breast Construction. But anyway, yeah, I remember the Fatback Band too. So, yeah, you know, I'm old and rusty, but, you know, I remember being with my brother's friends, and because they had the DJ equipment, And my brother would say, "Let my sister get on the wheels." The wheels are still whatever. And they taught me real quick, and I picked it up, and I was pretty good. And yeah. There was a club 371 in the Bronx on, I think, Webster Avenue.
Oh.
And I used to DJ in there a little bit. And then there was a club later on. I was a little older by that time. Really wasn't doing hip hop, but whatever. DJ'd at this club called Dreams. It was a lesbian club. And I did a lot of street DJing and battling as an MC back in the day. I do not rap anymore, but rapping was different.
I rapped for a little bit.
DJ Henry's yelling at me, JaVonne, you're not reading my comments.
It was FB.
Look, man, I can't see everything.
It was the
FB. Vicky and Marcia. Yep, that was my little crew. He's shouting out all of them people, man.
Oh, okay.
Terez, you heard about Darlene, right? But yep, it was me, Darlene, Vicky, Marcia, Tanya, Dee. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, 371 in the Bronx. Pop seems to know about that one. Papi Chulo be knowing about a lot of things,
I know everything, man.
Papi Chulo knows about a lot of things,
I'm just saying, but yeah, I don't know how we got on this, but and that's why I'm trying to relearn this digital. Well, I'm trying to learn this digital DJing thing. It's so interesting because I think really I would have to invest to get a real system so I can hear and really actually control it better. Right now, I'm trying to do the cheap version right now where I could just push buttons because
there's nothing like that analog sound though. You hear all the crunch and the crisp and the
exactly. But they have this thing, this thing where you can use actual vinyl. And I'm thinking, but that's an upgrade. I don't know that I feel like paying anybody any money for anything right now. I just want to hold on to my dollars.
Yes.
I don't want to spend a dime nowhere.
I'm with you. Nowhere that you don't have to.
Exactly.
We've been living in essentials anyway, so why not just keep doing it? They want us to get out. Oh, yeah. See, them threw it back there. But
my vinyl collection though. She knows. She been down in the basement, Henry. She knows. She's seen it. I had more. My brother and probably you too. I'm not gonna say it was you, Duma, because I don't remember, but I know Larry. That's my brother. Took my records to some party somewhere, and only some of them came back. I'm talking. Oh, but Red, do you know? What? The Savoy Manor, yes, in the Bronx, baby. Yes.
Oh, Savoy Manor.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I never DJ'd in there, but I've been in there.
What's in that building now?
Don't know. Pops probably know.
Like Pops is like a walking
encyclopedia, thesauruses. I don't know what's that book that has all the information. Hey Chaz, people coming on late. What's up, baby? You miss Gina Breedlove. She was beautiful. Some of these guests, I'm just gonna let Rez
No, we're good with that. We take turns. It's all good.
But check it out. I got good news for you, Rez. I forgot to tell you this.
What's that?
Dawn Robinson is no longer calling you Terrell.
When did she stop?
Just the other day, we were going back and forth on we were talking on DM, and I said, it's been a year since you've been on the show, and she said, "What, already?" She said, "Oh no, I haven't been on in a year." I was like, "Yeah." I said, "You ready to come back on?" She said, "I would love to do the show with you and Terez." I was
like, she used my real name.
I was like, she said Terez. I was like, let's see if she pronounces it though. So we gotta have Dawn Robinson of In Vogue back on the show. And
I love Dawn.
but I really enjoyed her calling you Terrell, though.
Me too, man. It was just, like, some things you just don't correct. You just let them rock, because the energy was right with the Terrell. Like, who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I think the drop might even have Terrell on it. I have to look to it. I don't know.
Bring it on. Like,
but I would use it because it's just so cute.
Back in the day, I used to have a street name. I can't tell you what it is because sometimes I check into hotels with it still. And that went on forever. So I may have to change it. I may change it to Terrell.
That'll be cool. But then it might confuse her because now that she got Terez, she'd be like, I don't know. Just like when Monifa stopped calling me JaVonne.
Oh, she still does that though.
Oh, she do. But I think she does it on purpose now, right?
No, she still does. She
messes it up. Good.
No, that's your name. That's your name to her.
Good.
How's JaVonne? Or, she'll say JaVonne when she's being serious, but that's the way she likes to say your name. She likes to.
And I like to hear it that way, but from her. I don't like for just people to call me that because that's But that's a special mode thing. So Duma saying I could come to his house and he's gonna help me with the digital controller thing. I'm gonna stop by. I'm gonna come by. I was just over there just yesterday, actually. I was at my mom's house. I would have stopped by. But yeah.
Chaz, it's a long story. But street name, yes. I had a street name, an AKA that I used to move in places that I could be anonymous in. You know what I mean? Yeah, just when you don't want people to know, you don't want people knocking on your hotel doors, you kind of have to fool them at the front desk. You have all kinds of names you leave there so that no one knows you're checking in. That kind of
That's how I feel sometimes when we're in public together, Terez, and people start fanning out on you.
Oh no, there you go.
You're like, don't I know you? Aren't you?
You know what?
It's the eyes. It's just the eyes. Go ahead. Leave her alone. It's the eyes. It's just the eyes.
You snuck it in. People, thank y'all for hanging out with us tonight.
Yes. It's time for JaVonne to go night. I think I'm gonna do some humming tonight. Please tell Miss Breedlove I said thank you so much because I'm a hum and I'm a rock.
That was some powerful shit, huh? Yeah.
That was very nice. That was very nice. And I'm going to and I'll be waiting for my sage. I think I have some sage, but it's so old. It's sitting on my little altar. I haven't burned sage in so long.
Makes you want to bring back. I think I have some downstairs. I may whip some up and just get under, turn the air on and just kind of settle in it.
Yeah.
Have the sage burning.
Also, I need some more oil.
Okay.
Yeah, my oil is running out. So, and I don't know if there are people, Pops, he can answer this. Are people selling oils in the street on 125th? Are people out there? Night, Duma. Are people out there? Pops or anybody who's
yeah, they're not like they used to be, but you can still find. Yeah, you can still find.
I mean, like now since we've been on shutdown.
Oh, I don't know about that.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, because I want to buy some oil, but I want to buy it from the guys on the street. Have a good night, Chaz. Are they, Brandon? You see them? Okay, good. Like what street? Don't have me driving.
I made some Beyond Meat and turmeric spaghetti. Woo! That sounds good. That sounds really good. Fix your face, JaVonne. That's some good stuff.
I swear you remind me of my mother when you say fix your face. She used to say that to me all the time.
That don't stop New York City. Oh, nice. All right, party people. I'm going to jump in this shower. I bid you all a safe, healthy, beautiful, prosperous, happy as much as you can rest of your week.
Yes.
Go in peace. Be gentle with your own spirits. God bless. Good night.
Good night, baby. And Pops, ask for Somalian Rose if you could pick me up some, and then I'll come get it from you. Somalian Rose, the $10 bottle.
Ooh.
ooh, or frankincense and myrrh.
That's the easier one to find.
That's easier to find. Frankincense and myrrh, $10 bottle. Thank you.
Love y'all. Thank you for hanging out again.
Right. And Brandon, what I'm trying to get, Brandon, is the 2020 Wake Up Everybody compilation. That is dope. And it's on the internet. So, and I'm trying to behave myself and not rip it from YouTube. I would like to purchase it. You know, I don't like to do that, but it's not on iTunes. It's on Spotify and SoundCloud, but I can't figure out how to download it as an MP3. So I'd like to buy that. I will look for your We Are Family All-Star remix. I will look it up. Stop yelling at me, young man.
Put the cats away.
I'll give you the information, Pops. I could write it here, actually. But I'll text it to you. Okay, send it to me. Send it to me. And if anybody has Wake Up Everybody, I'd rather that someone send it to me than for me to rip it. I'm just not ripping stuff unless I have to, but I love it. I love it. All right. So for Rez and I, we're out. Thank you for listening. Please share this with others. We love you. Peace. Be good. Be safe.